Today I'm going to be diving into some more myths about medical billing. In my last video, I told you about some medical billing myths that you still believe, and I hope you got the truth about them. But there are a lot more myths about medical billing that I want to share with you. So if you have any questions, any myths of your own, be sure to leave them in the comments below. Now I want to give a big, huge shout out to my members of this channel, and that is Kathy and Renee. Thank you so much for joining my membership. I started the membership about a month or two ago, and thank you so much for your support. It's because of you that I am able to do these videos, do them consistently, be able to spread my knowledge, and interact with you on the channel. Now, if you're not a member of the channel, be sure to check it out. There are a couple levels, a couple of benefits and perks like lives and videos that only members get to see. I actually dropped one of those videos yesterday, so you don't want to miss that video. But check it out. If you click on the join button below, you can check out what the benefits are. Now, the first myth that I'm going to be talking about today is the myth that you should be paid for everything that you bill for. So with that myth, it can sound like, well, shouldn't I be paid for? Or shouldn't the provider be paid for what they bill for? Now, it sounds great, and most providers believe so, but that is not always the case. There are some times when a provider will pick a code, or the coder will pick a code and give you the claim, because remember, you are not the one who is choosing the codes. Remember that you are the biller. You're not necessarily looking at the medical records or anything like that unless you're also doing the coding. You're probably not looking at the medical records. So when the provider gives you the codes, the diagnosis codes, the CPT codes, then you are putting those codes on the claim and you look them over, kind of just review them and send them out. However, you may not be paid for everything that's billed. First of all, there comes the NCCI edits. Now, these are edits that were created, I think it was by CMS, in order to tell you what codes can go with what. Sometimes certain procedures are bundled together. Now, I did a video about bundling and unbundling. I'll link that above. But sometimes the provider cannot bill for everything that they did. So there may be 3 procedures that were done in one day, and the provider puts on all 3 codes, but 2 of those codes or even 3 of those codes are bundled together, meaning that you should only bill 1 code out and not all 3 separate codes. You may also not be paid for services that you put on the claim because they were not medically necessary according to the payer. And I said according to the payer because a provider may believe that everything that they do is medically necessary. And of course, they are the ones who is seeing the patient, who has a degree as a doctor or a healthcare provider, and so they know what they're doing. But sometimes the payers believe that the services are not medically necessary. So even though you put a code on a claim and you send it out, they may say to you that we need notes. We need to review the notes and see what was done. And so when they review the notes, they say, well, this was not medically necessary, so we're not going to pay for it. So just because you put it on the claim form, just because you even sent them the notes, that doesn't mean that they're going to pay. And to piggyback off of that, if you send them the notes and then the notes does not have everything that you need, sometimes the provider may do 2 or 3 services or even 1, just an office visit, and they don't document enough. I have always learned in medical billing that if it's not documented, then it wasn't done. So if you put something on a claim form, send it off to the payer, and they review the notes, because let's say they ask for the notes, and you give them the notes and the notes are not complete, they're not clear, they're not legible, then they won't pay for it. So just because you send out a claim form that has on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines, that does not mean that the payer is going to pay for everything on that claim form. If you're interested in starting your own medical billing business and you want someone to bounce your ideas off of and give you some advice, be sure to schedule your remote one-on-one with me. The link is always below, so make sure you get your spot today. Now, myth number 2 is that once you have sent a claim in, the insurance has processed it and paid it, then your part of the job is over. I have seen so many providers or practices where they receive in payments, but they never post them. They never send out patient statements. They never do any type of, audits or checks or just reconciliations to make sure everything is okay. And they believe that, well, I got in payments, so everything is okay. That is a myth. After you get the insurance payment, you need to also make sure, first of all, that what you got in from the insurance is correct. Because there can be some times where the insurance do not pay you the complete payment. They may not pay you your correct fee schedule. They may do many things that just doesn't make sense and is off. So you need to first make sure that the insurance payments that you receive are correct. You need to make sure that they are totaled correctly as far as what you see on the explanation of benefits or the electronic remittance advice is the same amount that you have gotten in the bank, or the same amount that the provider has gotten in the bank. So you don't want to just think that whatever the insurance says is what it is. After you have collected the payment, you know there's a payment in the system, you know you have a EOB, you want to post that payment to the patient's account. You want to make sure that the account for the patient is correct, that when you pull it back up, you'll be able to see, well, we sent out the bill this day and the insurance paid this day because you've posted the payment. Now, if you don't know about posting payments, I will link that video above. But posting payments is very important to make sure that your system shows that accurate information, that you're not just assuming certain things, and that when it's time to look at a patient's file or their record, that you can make sure that everything is correct. So posting payments is very important. Then you want to also make sure that there's not a balance left. Sometimes when an insurance pays, they pay everything. So that particular visit has a zero balance. There's no patient responsibility left over. Everything is correct. All the adjustments are made and everything's correct. But there are some times when you get the insurance payments and then you still have a balance. So you need to figure out, is this balance one that needs to be adjusted or written off? Does it need to be sent to the patient? Is the insurance still responsible for this little bit of balance? Maybe they messed up a little bit. So just know that after you receive a payment from the insurance company, that doesn't mean that the process is over. You need to make sure that everything else is complete, that there's a zero balance, and that everything is correct for that particular account. Now, sometimes all you need is a checklist that will help guide you through the process of starting your medical billing business. And if that's what you need, make sure you download my free 12-step guide. It gives you the complete 12 steps that you will need to start your medical billing business with confidence. The link is below in the description box, so don't miss out on this free resource. Myth number 3 is that small claim errors aren't a big deal. So sometimes you may think that if it's nothing really big, then it's not a big deal. We can overlook that. We can get over that. But when it comes to sending out claims, it can definitely be a big deal. So you may think minor errors like the wrong NPI number, the incorrect spelling, or the wrong patient's name, day or two off of the date of service, like none of this really means nothing. So for example, if a patient came in on 8/5/2025, but you put 8/6/2025 on the claim form, you probably might be like, oh, well, it's close, it's 5 and 6, so it doesn't really make a big deal. The patient did really come in. No, all of that really does make a big deal. And first of all, that's because it can be considered fraudulent. Now, fraudulency or being fraudulent also depends on your intent, but if this is something that's continuously being done over and over again and you are not making the effort to correct it, then if for some reason the payers audit you, or there's some type of legality that comes on, it can be looked at as being spiteful and intentional. So you want to make sure that you correct these errors. It can also definitely trigger denials. So if I send in a claim for a patient and the NPI number for the provider or for the practice is incorrect, then that can make the claim be denied completely. And also, if you tend to do it often, over and over again, you put the wrong NPI number, it's denied, you have to correct it, and this becomes a consistent thing, then you may start to get audited by the insurance companies, and they might start to request records and other information that is going to require a lot of your time to deal with and get corrected. So you don't want to continuously make these little, small, minor mistakes that you may think, because they can have a big, huge effect in the long run. And I didn't want to forget the delay in payments. So when you make these small errors on claim forms and they're sent in and they're rejected and denied, then this is delaying the payments for your provider. You want to make sure that your provider is being paid consistently and regularly. And every time you have to touch a claim over and over again, that is delaying the payments from coming in, which is delaying the revenue for the provider. So if the provider did a service in August and you have had to correct this error, correct that error 4, 5, 6 times, then that provider may not get paid for that claim until December. You don't want that at all. Most claims process within maybe 2 weeks to a month, and you don't want to prolong that out for too many claims, because then again the money will not be coming in consistently. If you missed the first myths video, then be sure to check that out, and I will see you in my next one.